There are two ways to tell the story. One of the ways is in honor of our friends from North Shield. This is the story of how Master Valerius Pencalvus from Carianturth Moor won crown tourney. And that was a noble and honorable story. He fought well. I call him master because he was a laurel, but he was not a knight at that time. He was an unbelted fighter. So that is one way to tell the story, and it is a wonderful story, and Valerius deserves all praise and honor. He fought in excellent chivalric tradition, which I will tell you. But the topsy-turvy way to tell the story. This is the story of how Fern lost crown tourney and yet took the throne. And I thank Master Moonwolf for that title. Sometimes I have to tell the story in the third person. I'm not so good at telling stories about myself. In those days, Fern was an aspiring fighter. She had been the first lady fighter authorized in the Middle Kingdom. These days were long enough ago. North Shield was still part of the Middle Kingdom. Eldermere was still part of the Middle Kingdom. There were not so many women fighting in those days as there are now. But Fern came from a strong group with a great tradition of Northwoods, a lot of fighters, a lot of knights, good share of royalty. They knew what they're doing. They trained her well. This is why I can't tell the story. They trained her well, and in those days, unbelted fighters had to be invited to fight in crown tourney. You didn't volunteer. You hoped that the king would notice you and would invite you to fight in crown tourney.
Oh.
In those days. Fern was an aspiring fighter. She was on the tourney circuit. She'd been to all, if not all the baronies it's hard to get to all the baronies in that kingdom, but at least she had friends and acquaintances. She knew all the knights in the kingdom. She had friends and acquaintances in all the baronies of the kingdom. Busy, active, like many of the people in this room in your most active days. And she had fought in crown tourney before, but she was ambitious, wanted to do well in this crown tourney, eager to make a good showing, just like all the other squires, because if you look good in crown tourney, the knights notice you, and you can hope to have your ambitions forwarded. No promises, but you know, it looks good. It looks good if you do good in crown tourney. Fern was fighting for her then husband, a knight from Northwoods, and he was not fighting, so this was fine. Master Valerius from Carianturth was fighting for his new lady friend, who was new to the SCA, and she and Master Valerius's other friends said, Sure, it'll be fine. You know, it's nice to get fought for in crown tourney. And Valerius has to fight for a lady. This is a good thing. You do it, it'll be fine. So there's a problem. Then they realized this before crown tourney. She didn't meet the membership requirements. She was too new. Membership requirements included 6 months of membership before crown tourney. This is a reasonable requirement, I would say. You don't want someone to walk in yesterday and pay their membership fee and become princess tomorrow. Well, so we all understood that, no problem. Valerius's other friends, Sir Andrew Greencloak, Master Will of Wiltshire, a laurel armorer, Mistress Arianwen Ganlu, they had a cunning plan. The cunning plan was that Valerius would go into crown tourney and he'd do really good, and he would be noticed by the knights, and he'd make it high up to the list, like quarterfinals or something. And in order to do that, he would fight for his good friend, Mistress Arianwen, who was, by the way, a laurel harper, so well trained in the arts, and she was dating Sir Andrew Greencloak. Everybody's all good friends, perfectly well understood. So, from Carianturth comes the one group of friends, from Northwoods comes Fern and her group of friends, and Fern fights valiantly, and loses her first fight in crown tourney. But, to a knight it's reasonable. And the second fight was a bye, so she effectively wins that fight, and that's nice. And the third fight was another night, and history. So Fern's out of crown tourney. Feeling kind of bad. You know, it's a disappointment. She goes over to the other building. This was in Vermwald. This was one of the crown tourneys in Vermwald. I'll tell you the year in modern terms because I've lost track of SCA. 1984, for those who like to put things in perspective. So Fern packs up her armor away and throws a dress surcoat over her arming clothes and goes off to help the kingdom arts minister. That was Mirabel Blackwood, to help her do the ANS competition. Okay, I need some more help grading. At least I can go do something. It's only been the second round of crown tourney. There's a long time now. Well, time passes, and the ANS stuff gets graded, and an emergency occurs. The knight comes running in, Fern's knight comes running in and says, "We need you back at the list field. We need you right now." What? What's going on? Hurry, come on over here. When I get there, we discover it's time for the finals. Valerius is in the finals. And the other finalist is Jarl Sir Berengar, who had been king of the Middle Kingdom before, an honorable Viking, a good man. But Valerius is in the finals. Wow, this is beyond his wildest dreams of doing good in crown tourney. Coming in second in crown tourney. That's pretty nice. Except for the fact that his inspiration, Mistress Arianrhod, is crying her eyes out in the corner, having realized that she does not want to be princess to anyone other than her boyfriend, Sir Andrew Greencloak. So there's this long pause before the finals. There's always a pause. There's a longer pause than usual. Trying to figure out what's going on. And the king and queen were Eliahu ben Yitzhak and Ellen O'Diniver, their first reign. They were friends with everyone, with all parties. All parties were friends. But what are we going to do? Valerius, in the highest traditions of chivalry and honor, offers to yield the finals right now. No fighting at all. Just yield. Jarl Sir Berengar, who was a successful king previously, he can be king. Valerius has accomplished his goal. He doesn't want Arianrhod to be crying anymore. Nobody wants Arianrhod to be crying anymore. Seems like a good idea to him. But nobody else likes this. And I'm not just saying the king doesn't like it, and I'm not just saying Berengar. Berengar doesn't like it either. Nobody likes the thought that we could skip the finals and just have a winner without demonstrating it in the finals. Nobody likes that. The knights don't like it. The ladies don't like it. The king and queen, the kingdom officers don't. Nobody thinks that is a satisfactory way to run a crown tourney. And if you had been there and they had asked your opinion, I think you would have agreed with that too. We can't just have one guy throw the fight. Oh, thanks, I've had enough. It's over to you. But Valerius offered. He would have done it. Now, the other friends from Caranturth, they have the second cunning plan. And the second cunning plan is he could fight for Fern. She was in crown tourney. She has met all the requirements for being royalty. She was invited to fight in crown tourney. She's friends. She's from Northwoods and he's from Caranturth, so it's reasonable to have two sides of the kingdom covered. This is not the first time that the Middle Kingdom has had royalty who were not romantically involved. We're okay with this. But it has to be figured out. So this is why they came and got me. He could fight for you, Fern. I went, what?
So the finals already.
That's at the finals. What? So I'm trying to have a cunning plan of my own. Well, what about Countess Emmeline, who is a noble fighter, and she's already been queen once, so she knows how to do this. No, Countess Emmeline's very nice, but we're better friends with you. Right. And I couldn't think of any better cunning plan either. So then one of her friends whispers in his ears, "Hey," and I'm interpreting this. "Hey, stupid, go down on your knee and ask her politely." Valerius, not being stupid. And I ask you, if you have the finalist in Crown Tourney on his knees, asking nicely if he can fight for you, and your husband behind you is saying, "I think that's a good idea." Okay, we'll do it. Thank you. And now it's the finals. There are pictures of the finalists. There are pictures of the king and the queen and the two consorts, the two prospective consorts, and Jarl Berengar's lady is well dressed in her pretty clothes, and she's got a nice one. And Fern is in her fighting tunic with her gambus on and her knee pads and her fighting boots and her hair in these two long pigtails, standing up there and trying to look serious, trying to look like I belonged there, like it was a plan. This was not the plan. Three fights. Jarl Berengar won one, Valerius won another. We went all the way to the third fight. Valerius won the third fight. People who watched from the outside, other spectators say, and the sun came through the windows of the field house that time, and the sun came and it brightened up the list area, and Valerius was crown prince, and yours truly became crown princess.